So let's get started. This is an Ask Us Anything session. This is episode number 14 for English TV Live. We are going to answer your questions. We'll do our best to respond to everyone in the comment section. We for sure won't be able to answer everyone's questions. We also have some questions from our private community, which we're going to start with, I believe. And here is a question from Mirella. So Mirella wants to know, and this is a really great question, you guys. This is something that English language learners struggle with a lot. So Mirella wants to know the difference between agree on, agree with, and agree to. Lloyd, why don't I pass this off to you to begin the explanation?
Sounds good. How's the lag now? Are we back to normal?
A little bit, I think. That was better. Yeah.
I think it takes some time maybe for it to kick in. Anyway, so yeah, thank you for the question, Mirella. If I'm saying your name okay, Mirella. If you're watching, thank you for joining us. So the question from Mirella was, what is the difference between agree on, agree with, agree on, and agree to? Now, there is a difference between these three, a distinct difference. So you have to be careful about be careful about which preposition that you use. So let me go through them. The first one is agree with, all right? So you agree with somebody or something, all right? Agree with someone. It means you accept somebody's opinion, their point of view. You agree with somebody. So if Jacob and I, we have the same opinion about something, we agree with each other. I agree with Jacob. Jacob agrees with me. And then the next one, if that makes sense, the next one is agree on. So you agree on, you don't agree on a person, usually. You agree on an issue, an idea, usually something maybe in a debate. So we agree on this specific issue. We have the same point of view, but we don't agree on a person. So maybe we agree with each other, right? And we agree on this issue. So it could have the same meaning, just you have to be careful about the following words. So agree on an issue, agree with someone. And then the last one, agree to, is a little bit different. So you agree to something that somebody asks you to do. So it could be a demand, a query, so a question or a request. Somebody asks you to do something, you accept their request, you agree to do it. You agree to take the job. You agree to clean your room if your mother asks you, maybe. You agree to somebody's demands. You agree to join me to watch the movie, whatever it happens to be. Agree to something that somebody asks. So thank you, Mirella, for the question. I hope that explains the difference between those three.
Yeah, I think you did a great job there. Lots of people are commenting too and participating in the discussion, so that's great to see. What do you think we agree on, Lloyd? Do we agree on many things? Do we agree with each other
Nothing.
about many
Zero.
things? Zero? I think we agree on quite a bit.
I'm not sure about that. I mean, I think it's impossible to find somebody that you agree with everything about. There's always going to be one or two things that you disagree with somebody about, right? Disagree with somebody.
Right.
But I'd say we agree with each other about most things. We agree on most things. Do you see it's the same meaning there? Jacob and I agree on most things, but maybe not everything, but we agree with each other about most things. We agreed to do the live video at this time.
Yeah, exactly. Seems to be a good time for both of us. Here's an interesting question from Ayan Khan. What is the difference between effect with an E and effect with an A? Effect and effect. So effect is the noun, right? If something causes a positive effect, means that effect is positive. Okay. Now, if you affect something, you're using it in the verb form there. Okay. So let's say, I hope the bad weather doesn't affect the event. Imagine there's an event, a concert, your favorite band is coming to town and they're playing outdoors at some festival, but the weather is really bad and you're worried that the weather will affect the event. Maybe they'll have to cancel the event because of the bad weather. So really the difference is one is a noun and one is a verb, but other than that, would you agree, Lloyd?
Uh, I'd say I'd say generally well, I don't know, like this could be a difference perhaps with Canadian and British English perhaps, but most of the time we use affect with an A. I would use affect with an A.
Even
So
as a noun?
in the verb form, in the verb form. In the verb form, I would usually use affect because affect is a little bit different. It's a little bit more unusual, I would say, to use affect in the verb form with an E. Do you agree with me, Jacob?
I do agree with you. I don't think we ever use it in the verb form with an E. I can't think of an example at least.
Right. It would be very, very unusual. It would be very technical,
Yeah.
maybe scientific. Um, but usually, yeah. So usually in the verb form with an A, and then in the noun form, it depends. As Jacob said, with the two different explanations you just gave. Yeah. So the effect
Hmm.
with an E is the result of something, and yeah, generally like that.
Oh, you're frozen on me there for a second. Maybe that was just me. All right, do we have any more questions from our private group that we'd like to answer?
Yes, we do. So we have a good one here from Tammy. Thank you again, Tammy. Tammy always gives us some nice questions. And Tammy's question, well, she had a few questions, but one of her questions was, hold on a second. One of her questions was about phrasal verbs. Now, not everybody loves phrasal verbs out there. You love phrasal verbs, right? Or maybe not. And so Tammy asked if phrasal verbs are informal or formal. And so I thought about it a little bit, and I would say phrasal verbs can be either. They can be informal or informal, but generally they are neutral. Okay? So most phrasal verbs probably you could use in any situation, formal or informal. Just for example, something like get up, right? You get up in the morning. Um, you set off for work. You log on to your computer. You look forward to watching Jacob and Lloyd live on Facebook. You narrow down your choices. These ones, I wouldn't say they're formal or informal. And most phrasal verbs could probably be classified as that, neutral. They could be formal or informal. However, there are some phrasal verbs which are very informal and some phrasal verbs which are very formal. For example, examples of formal phrasal verbs would be something like adhere to, which means basically agree to what somebody says. Agree to, there you go, agree to. Um, engage in, right? Engage in, which just means basically do some activity. Permit, oh sorry, set forth, which means to start something. So these phrasal verbs you would only use in formal situations, only in formal situations. And then there are some more casual phrasal verbs. So for example, um, take off, which you can say when you leave. I'm gonna take off now. I'm gonna leave. Um, can I come over tonight? What time is Lloyd gonna show up on the live video? So there's some phrasal verbs which are casual, some which are formal, but generally most phrasal verbs are neutral. They could be formal or informal.
Yeah, I would agree there too. Something I noticed, I don't know how true this is, but I noticed this a while ago when I was watching one pod or listening to I was listening to the podcast, but I was watching the video podcast on YouTube. And I was thinking about this one speaker. He was quite a talented speaker, and he used very few phrasal verbs, and his speech was quite formal too. So I don't know how true this is, but I feel like I mean, they're much more common in everyday casual conversation, I think, than in formal speech. I do think there's a difference between formal phrasal verbs and casual phrasal verbs. And again, I don't know how true this is, but I feel like whenever I'm listening to someone who's speaking in a more formal setting, they almost use less phrasal verbs. I don't know if you've noticed that too.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that. Probably it's better. I, I would agree with that. So it's probably better not to overuse them in a formal situation. Um, Maybe try not to use them too much, but the point is that you can use them. They're not. It's not. You can use them, but as Jacob said, probably it's better not to use them too much in a formal situation. Um, but you can if you want to, but maybe not too much.
Great. Do we have any more questions here? Let's see, from our live audience. What is the antonym of sorry? Ibrahim asks. The antonym of sorry. Not sorry.
um,
You could say someone's, here's a good word for you. I don't know if it's the antonym of sorry, but you could say someone is unapologetic. If you describe someone as unapologetic, it means that they are not sorry, basically. You often hear this used to describe people who, let's say someone who is very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very blunt. So, okay, let's use an example that all of us know. Donald Trump, for example, is someone who's unapologetically blunt. He says what's on his mind. He has no filter. It just comes out, and he's unapologetic about what he says. He's not sorry. You could describe someone that way.
yeah, another word you could. So unapologetic is probably a good one. Maybe defiant, unashamed, unabashed. These are some other ones you could use as well.
Mm, yeah, nice.
Any other questions coming in?
Yeah, we've got one from Patricia. Are phrasal verbs the same in Canadian English and British English? I'd say for the most part, yeah. I mean, it seems from our lessons that Lloyd and I every week are discovering more and more differences between American English, sorry, American English and British English. But for the most part, yeah, I think there's a lot of overlap. Most phrasal verbs are pretty much the same.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of overlapping ones is a good word, overlapping. So a lot of ones we both use, but there will be, so yeah, same with slang, phrasal verbs. There will be some phrasal verbs which are different in Canada, different in America, different in the UK. But generally, we can still understand. We can still get the meaning. Generally, there'll be one or two times when I might be confused and I might say, Jacob, what does that mean in Canadian English and British English? So yeah, but I wouldn't worry too much about that. I think most phrasal verbs that you learn will be pretty universal, I think.
Hmm. Yeah, I would agree. Why don't we take one more and then let's head over to our private group. Okay. So if you're watching right now,
Okay, I got one here
Lloyd and I
from
have,
Gala.
okay, cool. Before you begin, let me just encourage people that if you want to follow this show, we're going to end it after this question, but we're going to head over to our private community online. And if you want to become part of the private community, we're going to be opening it to the public very soon. Follow the link in the description of this video. It will take you to our website where there's a form you can fill out. And once you're on the wait list, you'll be notified when the private group is open to join. So make sure to do that.
Don't forget to do that. And before we head over to our private group, which will be open to the public next Wednesday, right? Before we head off to the private group for a private Facebook Live, let me answer one more question. Let us answer one more question. So, Gala Janardhan, I'm sure I pronounced your name beautifully there, asked for the difference between get off and get down. Get off and get down. So, get off. Get down is very literal. Get down, Okay, get down. Maybe maybe Jacob kicks the soccer ball, the football, and he hits it very high. And I say, hey, get down, everybody.
Right.
Get down, okay?
Yeah, it's
And
often a command I would too. Like imagine
yeah,
if you have a
yeah, an
child.
imperative. Get down. Yeah,
Imagine if
yeah,
you have
or to a dog, maybe as well.
Right. So imagine you have a child who's climbing on your furniture, and this child climbs up a bookcase. You could say to the child, get down from there. So you're talking about the physical location. You want the child to not be where the child is. Get down from there.
Exactly. And then get off would mean that you are, what's the opposite of off? It is on, right? So get off would mean you are on something, so you need to get off. Get off. For example, Jacob, what would someone need to get off?
Well, let's say you're riding the bus and you're talking to your friend, and you guys are having a very interesting conversation. Suddenly you realize, oh my God, I need to get off at this stop. So you would get off of a bus.
Mm-hmm.
You'd
Yeah.
get off of, that's probably the most common situation, I think, getting off of a bus, getting off of work. You get off work. Many of you get off work at certain times. So if you work until 5 o'clock p.m., you could say, I get off work at 5. That's a common way of saying it.
Yeah, I think as you said, that's probably one of the most common examples there. Get off the bus. Which stop do I have to get off at? Get off work. Get off. Maybe if a child is, I don't know, on standing on the bed in their shoes, you can say, "Hey, get off! You're gonna make the
Right.
bed dirty with your dirty shoes. Get off." So just remember, get on. Okay, would be the opposite. Get on. Oh, get on. Yeah, can I get on the bike? Get off my bike. Get off my bike. That's not yours, it's mine. All right. Thank you for watching, everybody. And Facebook Live seems to be having a bit of a strange week this week, but hopefully you can hear me and see me and Jacob okay. And we hope you enjoyed this edition of Ask Us Anything. We'll be doing this every single Tuesday, so keep your questions coming, and we will keep trying to help you.
And we'll figure out the technology too. But for now, make sure to, again, one more time, I'm going to say it, join the wait list, follow the link in the description of this video. It will take you to our website, name and email into the form, and you will be set. You'll be notified when our private community opens. That's where we're going to go right now, to our private community, to answer some more questions for our private members. So bye-bye, everyone. We will see you tomorrow again at the same time on this page for another lesson. We talked about some get phrasal verbs today, but tomorrow we're going to be talking more about get phrasal verbs. So you'll see us then. Okay? Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.